Having and maintaining a well-stocked pantry is one of the most valuable things a household can have. When money is tight or there are limits at the grocery stores, you won't have to worry because you can have your own little grocery shop in your house, a practical emergency fund. So let's explore why having a stocked pantry is essential. My grandparents, who lived in Italy during the 1920s and 30s, knew the importance of having a deep larder. In the small southern Italian town that they lived in with no refrigeration, they stocked the shelves of their cool room with things like tomatoes, jams, and corn that they had produced all summer. They also hung cured meats from the rafters in that room as well. They weren't preppers. It was just the way people lived during that era. It was a normal thing. And though times are a little different now than they were then, this is something that is still very valuable today, and here's why. The first thing is safeguard yourself against price increases and inflation. Now, of course, inflation is nothing new. It's been part of our lives forever and always, though we have experienced more of it than normal in recent times. And having a pantry stocked full of the essentials that you use all the time can help insulate you against that if you're able to wait for sales, if you have enough of a stockpile to carry you through to the next best price that you can get for that particular item. Now, all kinds of things can happen to cause sudden price increases for certain items. For example, in the last year and a half or so, the price of rice in my area has pretty well doubled. And we were also at a point one time last year where we were paying $7 a head for lettuce and cauliflower. Now, I didn't buy any lettuce at $7 a head. I just moved around to other greens, but I had cauliflower stocked away in the freezer. Now, that particular price lasted several months until it stabilized and came down. And it was just because I think there was some kind of a lettuce bug in the California crop where we get most of our vegetables from, and other growing areas caught up and were able to supply us with lettuce. So then the prices stabilized and came down. But in the meantime, I was able to go into my freezer and use cauliflower if I wanted to use it for a particular recipe because I had it in my stockpile. Now, the price of rice certainly hasn't come down in recent times. However, the last stock of rice that I purchased was right around Chinese New Year at the end of January, early February, because that is the best prices that you will find on rice pretty well all year long. So even though the prices were higher that I've paid in the past, it was still much lower than the regular prices that we have now. So take advantage of those sale times when you know that certain things are going to be the best price that they'll be all year, and you'll be able to have enough to take you through to that next sale cycle. And you really can't beat the convenience of having a pantry fully stocked with the essentials that you use on a day-to-day basis. It's like having a little country store or a grocery shop set up in your house. And if you're new to this, the best way to do it is really to come up with, say, 10 to 15 things that you or your family enjoys, and have the things that are the basics used to make that particular meal or item on hand so that it's easily visible, you can see what you have, and you can easily replace the stock as you use it, so it's being rotated through and you have the freshest stock available. So for example, if your family enjoys tacos, make sure that you have taco shells and salsa and refried beans or whatever you use as a base for that particular meal, and make sure you have them on hand so that you can make that meal several times over. You may want to have a month stored, or 2 months, or a year even. Just make sure that you're building that up over time slowly, and you're catching sales whenever you can. And because grocery stores have a sales cycle, which is usually 8 to 12 weeks, if you see an item that you use regularly, buy that particular item and get enough to take you through the next sale, and that way you won't be overpaying and you'll get the best price possible. And also, if your little grocery store at home is stocked well, you can reduce your trips to the store, saving time and money, because we've all done it. We head out to the grocery store looking for one thing and we come out with $50 worth of stuff, and it can happen in no time very easily, especially if we're shopping when we're hungry, because it's so easy to just stop by the deli and pick up that expensive pre-made thing that we pop in the oven for 10 minutes. And if we're reducing our trips, trips and planning them around things that are on sale, we're spending less time in the grocery store, and we can use that time doing things that we actually want to be doing instead of tying it up shopping. The next thing is think about upcoming winter storms and power outages. Now, where I live in Canada, we don't get a ton of snow. The odd time we will get a foot or two of snow and a bad winter storm, but because it happens so rarely, our town isn't really equipped with a lot of snow plows that are used to make the roads drivable and passable. So whenever a big storm is announced, it's always the same. The parking lots of the grocery stores are overrun and people are running around standing in long lines trying to get the things that they need so that they can hunker down in their homes for a few days or a week until it passes. But if you have a stocked pantry with everything on hand, you don't need to do that. You can just hang out at home and relax with everything that you need and not have to run around and panic. It just makes sense. And also, now that it's summer, produce is at the lowest prices that you'll see all year. So now is the time to pick up that big flat of blueberries and make jam out of it and put it away for the winter, or can up your green beans or put them in the freezer to use during the winter when those items are going to be more expensive. The next thing is your stocked pantry is an insurance policy against personal emergencies. Life can throw a lot of different things at us that are unexpected, and having a stocked pantry helps us mitigate a lot of those personal things that we're not expecting and cause upset. Some of us have lost jobs in the last few years, or we've had some kind of illness that prevents us from working, or we've had some other personal experience that impacts us financially in some way. When things like this happen, we have enough on our plate concerning us without having to add wondering where our next meal is coming from. So having a stocked pantry can give you peace of mind and food security, and that's always a good thing. And the last thing, which really shouldn't be the last thing because it's very, very important, is helping others in need. When we have a fully stocked pantry, it helps us be of service in our local communities because we're able to whip up a meal for that new mom, or we're able to bring some soup over to a neighbor who's not feeling well. It helps build our friendships and strengthen our relationships with others, which is very, very important. And also being of service in the community and doing something positive for someone else doesn't only make the world better, it makes you better because it changes the outlook that you have on life when you're doing something good for others and you're helping people out and you're able to share the provisions that you have with others. Doing something good for others helps change our own outlook and our own attitude in life and helps us feel like we have a purpose and helps us feel more fulfilled in life, and that is a wonderful thing. I sure hope this video reiterated why food storage is so important, and if you don't have a pantry started, I hope this video inspired you to start. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I sure do appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next one.